What's up, guys? So this is gonna be a little different. I've this one person, and you know who you are, because you're probably freaking out right now. Has commented recently on a lot of my videos to do a reaction to this one particular video called "To This Day," and I was thinking, I was like, because I've already seen the video like 3 times, but it's been such a long time since I've watched it. I figured, oh, what the hell? I'll watch it again because I don't really remember everything about it. And I mean, I won't spoil the part I do remember because I'm going to react to it in a bit. So, to that person, I saw the comments. I was just figuring, is the reaction still genuine if I still see it? If I have seen it, but I figured, I guess it'll still be genuine if, since it's been a while and I don't really remember anything. But before I do start, let me just say it's about to get emotional. Like it's a deep video and it's got a pretty strong message. So yeah, be ready to feel because this and I know I'm gonna get emotional and everything. So just be ready. That and before then a little tidbit before I begin. I had to make a new Instagram for my channel. I figured I might as well just make something specifically so I can post pictures and be stupid to channel related stuff or whatever. You get the point. And that is Giraffagram121. Make sure you go follow that if you want to see me post stupid pictures and act like an idiot. So, I figured let me just get that out the way before I start feeling and I have to lay down and think about my existence for the next 2 hours. So, here we go. My volume low. Okay, here.
When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandmother thought it was cute, and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was scared I'd get in trouble for playing somewhere I shouldn't have been.
I love the art style.
A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruise and I got sent to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life at home. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandmother gives me karate chops.
Oh.
This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread through the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way. Surrounded by people who used to say that rhyme about sticks and stones. As if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. So we grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with us. That we'd be lonely forever. That we'd never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed. So broken heartstrings bled the blues as we tried to empty ourselves so we would feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone. That an ingrown life is something surgeons can cut away. That there's no way for it to metastasize, it does. She was 8 years old. Our first day of grade 3 when she got called ugly. We both got moved to the back of class so we would stop getting bombarded by spitballs. But the school halls were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside we'd have to rehearse running away or learn to stay still like statues, giving no clues that we were there in grade 5. They taped a sign to the front of her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think she's beautiful. Because of a birthmark that takes up a little less than half her face. Kids used to say she looks like a wrong answer that someone tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done. And they'll never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom. because they see her heart before they see her skin, because she's only ever always been amazing. He was a broken branch grafted onto a different family tree. Adopted, not because his parents opted for a different destiny. He was 3 when it became a mixed drink of 1 part left alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade. Had a personality made up of tests and pills. Lived like the uphills were mountains and the downhills were cliffs. 4/5 suicidal, a tidal wave of antidepressants, and an adolescence being called pauper. 1 part because of the pills, 99 parts because of the cruelty. He tried to kill himself in grade 10 when a kid who could still go home to mom and dad had the audacity to tell him, get over it. As if depression is something that can be remedied by any of the contents found in a first aid kit. To this day, he is a stick of TNT lit from both ends. Could describe to you in detail the way the sky bends in the moments before it's about to fall. And despite an army of friends who all call him an inspiration, he remains a conversation piece between people who can't understand. Sometimes being drug-free has less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. To this day, kids are still being called names. The classics were Hey Stupid, Hey Spaz. Seems like every school has an arsenal of names getting updated every year. And if a kid breaks in a school and no one around chooses to hear, do they make a sound? Or they're just background noise from a soundtrack stuck on repeat when people say things like kids can be cruel? Every school was a big top circus tent, and the pecking order went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. All of these miles ahead of who we were freaks. Lobster claw boys and bearded ladies. Oddities juggling depression and loneliness, playing solitaire, spin the bottle, trying to kiss the wounded parts of ourselves and heal. But at night, while the others slept, we kept walking the tightrope. It was practice, and yes, some of us fell. But I want to tell them that all of this is just debris left over when we finally decide to smash all the things we thought we used to be. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, get a better mirror. Look a little closer. Stare a little longer. Because there's something inside you that made you keep trying despite everyone who told you to quit. You built a cast around your broken heart and signed it yourself. You signed it. They were raw. Because maybe you didn't belong to a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring bruises and broken teeth to show and tell but never told. Because how can you hold your ground if everyone around you wants to bury you beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would we still be here? We grew up learning to cheer on the underdog because we see ourselves in them. We stem from a root planted in the belief that we are not what we were called. We are not abandoned cars stalled out and sitting empty on some highway. And if in some way we are, don't worry. We only got out to walk and get gas. We are graduating members from the class of We Made It. Not the faded echoes of voices crying out names will never hurt me. Of course, they did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.
Wow. I said I wasn't gonna cry. I was saying in my head I wasn't gonna cry, and I totally blew it. um, well, you got me. I was really, man. The first time I ever saw this, I was in 8th grade. And that had to be one of the toughest parts of my life. My my parents had just split, and my grades were really low. I was being picked on a lot. It's probably why I got so emotional. Mostly because a lot of this video was centered around bullying, and I know the feeling. Maybe to not such an extent as he does, but I definitely know the sting, and that's probably why this video touched me so much. Oh God. Okay. Because when I first saw this, I was feeling the same way I'm kind of feeling now, but a lot more intense. But what really hit me was somebody else's reaction to it. It was my friend. I don't remember what her name was. And she had been picked on, maybe not as bad as I was, but pretty bad by this one kid. And, I tend to condition myself to not show my emotions. I tend to bottle it up, for the most part. The really hard emotions I tend to bottle up. But she fell apart, and it tore me up to see her like that. Like, she wasn't even that close of a friend. She kind of, she was, I mean, I wouldn't say she was mean to me, but she was a very aggressive person, probably as a result of what she had been through. And she fell apart. And I wanted to reach out to her because I had never seen her that way. And man, I she was distraught, and I remember feeling the same way, but I was too afraid to show it. And I just you never know what what you say, what effect what you say has on somebody. You know, it's it's a very it's a very difficult thing to gauge. Not only that, you don't see a lot of times how the person will react. A lot of people, like myself, have a habit of just keeping it in. You know, if anything, they act like they make a joke out of it. Excuse me, to kind of deflect it. It's a coping mechanism, and you know, they laugh about it, but inside or at home when nobody's watching, they're falling apart. You know, I had I whew, okay. Give me a minute. Okay. They go behind closed doors and then they really show how they feel, when nobody's looking, but it's it's a coping mechanism, and it does hurt to know that you see somebody, and I mean, I wouldn't say I'm being a hypocrite because I do the same thing. I laugh. I'm a very happy, bubbly person, but when I do feel like that, it hurts, and and I can't even speak. I'm so sorry. And you see it for other people, and, they're so happy and whatnot, but on the inside, they're struggling day by day. And you have to be mindful of these things, you know, especially in person, because, there's some protection behind a computer screen. I can't reach out and physically assault you through a webcam, but in the real world, not to say that this isn't the real world, but out there, It's so much more dangerous. There's so many more factors at work and factors that cannot be controlled by us. So when you interact with people, you have to make sure that you know how what you say is going to affect somebody. And I mean, just be good to each other. That that that's heartbreaking what he went through. It's really horrible. And it just makes me emotional. And I mean, I don't keep meaning to parallel this back to me. I don't want to make it seem like I'm complaining or that I'm asking for pity or attention. I don't want it to make it seem like that because I'm using my own experiences as a way to relate and project the message that he's trying to send. Because I remember being picked on quite a lot myself, all the time. And it was hard. And it's really it's a good thing that I'm getting this out now. But it's a therapeutic thing. And I kind of thank the person who kept recommending me this cuz I feel like I should have seen this again anyway because it really does make you think. So, um my mother always tells me this story. Um there's a little girl and she loved to sing. I think I might jack up the story a little bit. It's been a long time since she's told me, but she used to tell me this all the time. Where there's a little girl and she loved to sing. And one day she was feeling really good about herself. She was singing, she had a beautiful voice. She was singing to the top of her ability. She loved it. And one day her mother came back from work. She had a very, very bad day. And she couldn't take the daughter singing anymore because she was so upset. She told her voice was ugly, and she yelled at her for it. And it tore her apart. And she she became a recluse. She didn't talk as much. She um she became a totally different person. And her mother regretted it to the fullest. I think it goes something like that. The daughter is a completely different person, and it's just horrible because my mother taught me to always be impeccable with my word because you never know what you're gonna say to somebody. You never know how that's gonna react. I mean, you don't know how the person will react. You don't know what that's gonna do to somebody, and it's it. I'm starting to ramble again. Long story short, this video is, designed to give a message. And I won't ramble too long. I should be wrapping it up now, as a matter of fact. But I will put the link to the video in the description. And please watch it for yourself. Watch it as many times as you need to, because there is a compelling message behind it. And I'll leave you off on a happy note. Just remember, even if I'm just some kid with a headset and a webcam sitting miles and miles away from you, just know that I think you are all amazing people, despite what anybody else says. I think that even if I don't know you on a personal level, that you are great, and I believe in you. I know that message might not hold a lot of weight to some people because I am some kid far away, but I want you to know that from the deepest part of my heart that I genuinely think that you are all amazing people. And I'm so happy that I'm able to make videos like this, that I can pour out my soul and cry in front of you. You know, it's therapeutic. So, next time you go see somebody, give them a hug or something, because you never know what impact it might have on a person's day. Just that one little act of kindness may go a really, really, really long way, because it's small things that tend to count. Small things that stick out in your mind a lot. So, smile and just keep going. Even if it gets hard. I know it gets hard. I can't imagine the struggle that it may be for some people. But just, I'm rooting for you. Just know that. I'm rooting for you. And I want you to succeed from the bottom of my heart, honestly. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. And I'm probably going to record Happy Wheels again after this to get my mood back up. So, thank you. Thank you for being who you are. And continue being who you are. As always, peace out.